Welcome to After the Breach podcast. This is episode 49. This is Jeff. Sara is actually not with us today. She is, as we are recording this, she is on the water in Bremer Bay, Australia with killer whales. But I'm joined by Monika again. And April is back for another returning guest who works with Maya's Legacy Whale Watching. And we are going to talk about winter whales.
Yeah, Sara isn't the only one who's been on the water with killer whales in January. It's pretty cool.
Winter whale watching has been amazing. November, December, January. We've had some incredible encounters and some incredible numbers. We're seeing killer whales almost every day this winter. And we did have one standout experience that just jumps right out. And people on social media have probably seen photos from us and our guests. We had the T-19s on an epic sea lion hunt in late evening lighting. It's the kind of like Norway or Iceland lighting.
At noon?
At noon.
At noon. All day long.
Which is one of the things that you get out here in winter whale watching is on most days you're going to have this beautiful lighting that is that late afternoon, early evening lighting all day long.
It's just golden.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's beautiful.
We get the reputation of being the rainy state, right? But we've had some incredible weather this month. I mean,
it's been beautiful.
Some sunny days on the water. It's just stunning.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we're not going out as often in the winter as we'd like to. And it's not like we're just going out when we know that there are whales around. It's a slow season for travelers, for visitors to the island. And if there were more people coming out to go whale watching, we'd be going out more often. But we've been running most weekends. A few times during the week, if we get, we're here, so it's like on demand if people call and want to go out.
So come visit. Come to the San Juan Islands.
Absolutely. Winter whale watching is fantastic. The other thing is it's much quieter on the water. There are very few, if any, recreational boats, and there are definitely not as many whale watching boats. And so I think pretty much every time we've been with whales in December and January, for the most part, we've been alone. Occasionally there's one other boat.
But
most
they're
of the
only
time,
there for 10, 15 minutes, and then they've got to go.
So let's talk about the hunt with the T-19s, because that was epic lighting and
epic action,
and we were all by ourselves.
Yeah, over there in Western Harrow Strait, we were lucky enough to have a earlier shore-based report to go off of to go searching for them. And they were already on the sea lion when we got there, I think.
Yeah, they had to have been.
And I think they took it down, within half an hour of us getting there. But to me, it looked like T-19C was kind of doing the heavy muscle work. Yep. He was the one actually making contact with the sea lion. But all three family members were involved. And lots of leaping, some breaching, tail slapping, lots of action.
The lunging where they've still got that water tension and you see their eye patches through the water. Oh, it was incredible.
And 19C Spouter is becoming a favorite for me.
Well, he's the one who did the breaching too.
He did. And when they're hunting, he does seem like he's really engaged. We've seen that a few times with him. And he's big.
Well, didn't Grandma... I'm so sad she's gone.
She's not. She's coming back.
She has all year.
She has all year.
We'll table that for another episode. But I remember Galliano and Esperanza would kind of be off to the side, and it'd be Mom and Spouter killing something. And so maybe that's why he was just really encouraged. Come on, man. You're the dude.
And he launched a couple of epic, awesome breaches with like the golden light in the background.
It was interesting because T-19B, his older brother, was there and was lunging, but seemed to be more like corralling the sea lion. But you could tell when T-19C lunged, he was making contact. Like you could just see the vibration on his fin when he was making contact with, such a large animal in the sea lion. I mean, sometimes it's a little difficult to watch, but it's just so impressive.
You really get to see the power.
Yeah.
Of how powerful these animals are.
And the size difference. We go by sea lion haulouts all the time. They're 2,500 pounds. And then you see how small they look up against a big male killer whale.
And I even said when we got on scene, is that a little sea lion? Like, like no, that's just a very big whale.
Yeah. And the 19s have been around a lot this winter.
I was going to ask you, because Jeff and I got into a little bit of are they here more or are they winter whales?
The 19s?
Yeah.
I think of them as being among our winter regulars.
I do too.
Yeah. It's possible they've been here more this year or reported more this year than years past, but I'm not surprised to see them in January.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if I had to guess based on like my feel for how they've been, since I've been here, they've been here in the winter months making appearances, but it feels like they're here more now over the years. Each year they're here more and more in the winter.
Or is it because we're going out on the water more in winter months?
Point taken. I mean, who knows, right? It could be that as well. But they do seem like they've been around quite a bit. April, you and I saw them. Monika, you weren't out on this trip, but we saw them with T60D&E.
Definitely winter whales, those two.
Yes.
Yeah, they are.
I love those two. I mean, it's so cool. And we see them quite a bit with the 19s.
But that group, 4 essentially adult males.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
It's impressive.
It's incredible. I mean, you have these 4 huge whales.
Yeah.
And we saw them a ways away because they were...
We think that was when they actually met, because we saw all of this surface activity, and then they started coming towards us as we were meeting them. And there's all of this rolling, and then the 2 boys paired off. So you've got 2 pairs of big males.
Was it one from each set of brothers
Yep.
together? Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, which were the 2 pairs?
So Galliano, always with the younger one, so he was with Lynx, and Spouter was with Orca. Yeah.
And then Mom was kind of bouncing.
Mom was with Galliano. She was leading, and then we decided that she's not really a wine and cheese kind of girl. She's an old-fashioned.
I like that. And one of these days we'll see them in T18. Will be back in there.
Oh,
But there are a lot of whales that are winter whales. Like, Jeff, you were one of several people who asked me this week, like, oh, how many different bigs do we usually get in January? And over the last 5 years, the average is like between 85 and 95 different individuals.
Wow.
In the Salish Sea in the month of January.
So how many matrilines is that?
Yeah, it varies from year to year, but if you think, there's an average of like 4 or 5 per matriline, we're talking 15, 20 matrilines.
Wow.
So who are some of the more common matrilines that we would see in the wintertime?
All of the T75s, so 75B, 75Cs, T77s, T34s, T37s, 37As, that whole family group, and the whole T99 family group too, including the 36s and the 137s, like that whole extended family.
So every matriline you just listed has been seen here this winter.
Yeah, and when I was looking through the last several Januaries as well, the same kind of extended family groups, which is really interesting too, that it seems to be the daughters carry on what the mom was doing.
It's amazing. It's changed so much here with the increase in the Bigg's killer whale population that it really is whale watching all year long. The trick in the winter is you've got to be a little flexible because of weather, but there are whales here. Like, what's
every
the best
day.
time to see whales in the Salish Sea? January 1st through December 31st.
And we're just barely over halfway through January for 2026, and we through yesterday basically, so the 16th of January, 86 different individuals.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So we get more than 1 or 2 more matrilines in the next 2 weeks, and it would be a record-breaking month.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
When we've had 10 tours in January.
In January or December and January?
Or in December and January. And have seen killer whales on 8 of 10. And so, I mean, we're seeing them most trips. And when we're not seeing them, we're seeing humpbacks. That's the other thing, is we're getting year-round humpbacks.
And is this the 3rd trip you and I have done where we go up San Juan Channel and we're finding humpbacks coming down?
Yes.
San Juan Channel?
Yeah, we were out today with Monika, and April and I were out on a tour, and we had 3 humpbacks together, tight together.
And one of them looks to be a new whale in the area.
At least not a regular, like not one that we immediately recognized.
Nice.
Yeah.
I still think of, okay, we have sporadic humpbacks here and there this time of year, but they're like heading out or all business or juveniles that are kind of hard to track. But this was like 3 whales, tons of time at the surface. I mean, like again, the lighting, the backlit blows was just absolutely stunning. And just 3 humpbacks right together like that. It blew my mind.
Yeah, really tight together.
And 2 adult females that we know pretty well.
And I think I've said this on previous podcasts. My first like season or second season, it was so cool. Like seeing humpbacks was so new. And then like, wow, they're still here in October. And every year it just seems to keep getting better and better. And they're here longer. There's some here later. And I think as the population increases, we're still kind of growing into that. And I think it's very likely that we will have some, not just juveniles, but some adults that take the year off from the migration and stay in the feeding area. And I think this could potentially be the first year where we do have humpbacks year round that we're seeing on the water.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I think you're right in terms of there being humpbacks here every month of the year. In terms of like a true overwintering, I'm not sure we have evidence of that. I think it like requires the same individual, right?
Right.
But between some staying really late and some coming back really early,
that gap between is
smaller
getting
and smaller.
really, it's getting really small, which I think that's awesome.
Yeah, no. And I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to ask you, do you know of any of these feeding grounds where they have documented humpbacks staying year round?
I'm not familiar outside the Salish Sea. I know some folks have been trying to track it within the Salish Sea and have gotten like 1 month, away from confirming it with some of these individuals that, hang out in Puget Sound or something like that.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be at all surprised if we have some juveniles that at least stay here and feed and don't migrate, which makes sense. They're not going to be likely to mate or anything at that age, but it'd be really interesting if some adults start doing that as well.
Yeah, that would be, like you say, interesting.
Yeah, and we've had lots of double headers where we're seeing killer whales and humpbacks on our tours. It's maintained like a 30% average for the year and over the winter too.
We actually had one trip where we only had killer whales, and we should have had a double header, but the people that were out with us had seen humpbacks on all of their other whale watching trips. So we had humpbacks, 2 ahead of us, 2 behind us, and they didn't want to go see them.
Oh, they were. Yeah, it was 2 couples. One was from Hawaii, and the other was from Monterey. And I kept threatening to leave the killer whales to go to the humpbacks, and that was the 46 Bs that we had.
Yeah.
So they've been around.
Are they one of your typical winter whales?
Good question. Like the 46 has definitely come to mind.
Yeah.
46B's not so much, but maybe that's changing.
Yeah, it's been incredible. Like it's just amazing how many different whales are around all this winter.
I know we keep saying it, but we truly are that amazed. I mean, when we had humpbacks and orcas on the first trip of the year that you ran, I just remember you looking at me and going like a double header in January. Like,
right?
Again, you think back to even when you started, Jeff, but going back to when I first got here and I was like never seeing Biggs, was never seeing humpbacks, and just the transformation is just pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing for people that don't really get familiar with the history or don't really understand why we're so amazed. Historically, if you go back 20 or 30 plus years, the wintertime, like, we didn't have this many Bigg's killer whales. There was a much smaller population, and they didn't spend as much time in the Salish Sea as they do now. And so we didn't see them very much. And we didn't have humpbacks returning here anymore at that point.
Well,
the humpback comeback hadn't started yet.
Right.
And
Plus
southern residents were generally not around the Salish Sea in the winter. They would pop in here and there, but they weren't consistently seen in the winter months like they are now. Now, if you want to see southern residents, it's almost like a winter time is the best time from shore down in Puget Sound.
Absolutely. November, December are now the best months, most reliable months to find them.
Yeah, and you've got companies shutting down in October, crew leaving to go do other jobs, other winter jobs, because that's historically what it was. There's no whale watching.
And we get a lot of questions from in email at Maya's Legacy Whale Watching, in email and on the phone of, when's the best time? We heard it's May through September. I mean, all this information that was out there for so many years, it's still online. It's just not accurate anymore.
Isn't that interesting how we hold on to that? Like, why can't we get that new messaging out there that people are still so like, oh, May through September? I mean, that's what we used to say because it was true. That's when the Southern residents were here. But it's like people have latched onto that knowledge and haven't adjusted. I don't know. It's an interesting aspect of the human aspect of it.
Absolutely.
We can't adapt this quickly.
Right. And once it's online, there's so many places where it's mentioned online that it hasn't changed online. And so if it's online, it must still be accurate.
Talk about a whole other episode. But I want to go back to the very first trip of 2026, which all three of us were on.
Yes, that was an interesting one.
Because we had all kinds of, of course you're always like, who are the first whales going to be that we see of the year? And I can't remember, Jeff, if we said it on air or just when we were recording our before we hit record on the predictions episode for 2026.
I forgot to go back and listen to that. I wanted to do that because I think we said it on the air, but we'll have to. But we did. It was said out loud.
It was. We were talking about the T-77s and how we had seen them so much less in 2025 that there was no way they were going to be our first whales of 2026, which clinched it right there. I don't even have to say who our first whales of 2026 were.
We saw them so infrequently in 2025 that it actually took us a while to get
I don't know these whales.
Yeah, it took us a while to get the IDs.
And not just us, but there was one other vessel that came on scene with another expert whale watcher who didn't immediately recognize them either. Yeah. For me, at least, it was T-77C has grown so much since I last saw him. I was just like, who's that male?
Yeah, finally, really sprouting.
The perfect fins should have been the giveaway, right?
Yeah, four in the family, no nicks or notches, but a big male. That doesn't add up. Who is that?
So funny. Yeah, I mean, for whales that we're so familiar with, we saw them so rarely that they show up and it's like, wait, who are these?
Well,
Amnesia.
The other thing for me is that in recent years, we've seen them in pairs, that so often it was T-77C and D on their own or with another family group, but not with mom.
Right.
Just like they don't compute as one of the foursomes I go to in my mind when we come on four whales.
It is funny that those were the first killer whales, and it was a very interesting trip.
Oh, it went sideways.
It went sideways.
I'm still not sure what we saw.
You're the expert.
Well, they were being a little bit cryptic when we got on scene, which is typical for like prey searching or something like that. And that's part of the reason it took us a while to get an actual photo where we could see any of the saddle or anything.
They were so low profile.
Yeah, to dial it in. Then once we figured out who it was, they eventually kind of strafed a rock. It looked like maybe they were going to go after a seal or something like that.
Oh, the sea lion. There was a sea lion, he was on a rock that was just barely submerged. Well, and that's what saved him.
Yeah. You're jumping ahead in the story, Jeff.
Sorry. I'm so excited.
They strafed this rock for seals, and as they were doing that, we saw ahead of us a sea lion with something, thrashing prey at the surface. And we're like, oh, the whales are going to go over there probably and see what's going on. And then almost immediately we saw a dorsal fin over there, and we're like, wow, that was fast. But it turns out it wasn't one of the 77s. It was T-73A2 for some reason by themselves.
What happened to the rest of the family?
Well,
they had been around
the 73As.
Yeah, in the days prior.
And we might have seen them. There were the 77s merged with 73A2, and like you said, the sea lion was near a barely submerged reef and was able to get onto that reef, which I think made the whales give up within 5 minutes. So we had 5 killer whales at that point. And 3 different times, I think, somebody on the boat was certain they saw other killer whales in the distance.
Oh, yeah. I mean, one of those times, I absolutely, when we were with the 5 whales, I saw at least 2 killer whales half a mile ahead coming towards us. I saw the exhale. I saw the dorsal fins, absolutely 100% positive, and never saw them again.
And that happened 3 times.
3 times with different people.
Yeah. So I feel like the rest of the 73As were there somewhere.
They were just watching from afar.
But I mean, again, this was in like Northwest Harrow with lots of little islands and stuff. So maybe they were just playing hide and seek.
Yeah. I mean, the 5 whales we were with were also like, they weren't cryptic, but there were lots of direction changes. Like every few minutes, it's like, no, let's go over here. No, let's go over here.
Well, and then they would change behavior, and all of a sudden they got social and belly up and inverted tail slaps. And
it is almost like there was a broader game going on.
There was certainly more going on than we were aware of, because it was kind of bizarre.
That was a fun trip, though. It was fun.
Very unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a lot of whales that we recognize on site or almost on site. And it's fun when we don't know. Even, you know, not knowing when we got on scene, but then even the 5th whale, it's like, wait, there were 4 and now there's 5. Like, we thought that was one of the 77s up ahead with a sea lion, but it was another whale. And just like, who's that? And
where did it come from?
Yeah, it's fun. And it's fun when the guests kind of get involved in that mystery too of trying to piece it together.
Absolutely. And I don't know, I can't remember if we've talked about this on a recent podcast. I don't think we have, but that trip kind of reminded me of the trip, and I think it was in November when we had the 49As show up out of nowhere.
Crazy.
And the 3 of us were on that trip, and Sarah was on that trip.
I wasn't.
Oh, I thought you were on that.
No,
I did
no.
too.
I just heard about it.
It was that was our, I think it was our Black Friday all day, wasn't it?
Maybe. But it was just so bizarre that we had the 75 sisters and their kids, and they went on a dive, and 5 minutes later, the 49As pop up.
And this is one of the most bizarre things that has ever happened to me on the water, and I think to any of us. So to kind of unpack what April was saying, we the 75 Bs and 75 Cs were together. They were in Spiden Channel, and they were doing pretty regular, like 5.5 to 6 minute dives. It seemed like they were in a resting group and not moving terribly far or very quickly, but slow travel, decent length of dives, coming up very tight together. And they went on a dive, and we were parallel viewing them, and we had our timers going. So we knew, like, at 5.5 minutes, get ready. They're coming up, within the next 1 to 30 seconds. And they were very easily followed, so we knew exactly where they were going to be coming up. And at just after 5.5 minutes, they came up exactly where we thought they would come up.
Only it wasn't they.
It wasn't they.
It wasn't they, them.
It was the 49As, who we hadn't seen, like, where'd they just pop up from? It was so, and everybody.
And they were going in the correct direction as well.
Yeah, same direction, exactly same spot,
So
tight together.
Where did the 75 Bs and Cs show up?
They came up like a minute or two later behind the 49As, and then they joined for.
It almost seemed like it was a greeting ceremony.
Yeah.
Because the 75 Bs and Cs were further back than they should have been, air quotes for that. And then the 49As turned around, pointed at them, and then everybody went on a dive.
Yeah, it was
so cool.
It was so funny because everybody on the boat, like when the 49As came up, it was 49A3 that was like, wait.
I was going to say.
Yeah, there's a big male in here.
75 Bs and Cs, no sprouter males or adult males.
Correct, yeah.
So 49As pop up.
Yeah.
T49A3, big fin.
Who's on his own, he's very easily recognized dorsal fin. So like a lot of us were like, wait, that's 49A3. Like, what's going on here? That was a fun one.
I feel like that's kind of how the T49As roll. Like,
surprise.
They pop up a lot. And not necessarily where you expect them.
Yeah, and they have not been seen, I don't think, since like around then. Like, I don't know if are they usually winter whales?
They're all the time whales.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
we see them quite a bit.
I think you can expect them any month of the year. T49A2, though, was seen a couple days ago with T87, which is always special to hear about that guy, the oldest known male killer whale on the West Coast, I think, at this point.
Yeah, and 49A2 is always a welcome sight down here.
He is cool. He's a cool whale.
Glad he's not back in Barnes Lake up in Alaska.
Maybe, unlike some other wandering young male killer whales, maybe he actually learns from his mistakes.
I'm assuming you're referencing Indy.
I am, yes.
Poor Indy.
Excited to see where he pops up next.
And what he looks like when he does.
Yeah.
Well, the last time we saw him, he was fat, but that was summer.
Yeah, he was fat.
So don't worry, he's not missing any meals.
So in addition to lots of bigs and lots of humpbacks, southern residents have been around quite a bit this winter down in Puget Sound. I mean, we're not really seeing them up in the San Juan Islands, although we did have a trip in January, and we got a report of killer whales south of San Juan Island. So we went to check it out, and it turned out to be the K-12s. And we watched, because we were in Washington State, we watched half a mile for, I don't know, maybe 10 to 15 minutes tops.
Well, it took a while because the K-12s, we had Tika close to us, and again, a male that I don't recognize, that dorsal fin, and a close saddle patch. And so then it was a matter of, who is this?
Right.
And
We don't see them enough to be able to kind of forgotten.
Totally. So it was getting a distant shot of mom and finally piecing it together. Oh, these are the K-12s. Where's the baby? Wrong family.
Well, the rest of, before anyone worries, the rest of the Ks were there. I was actually from shore on
because
Mount
you
Finlayson.
guys saw them early.
No, it was about, it was right as you guys were leaving, I think, that we dialed in on where they were and watched for a little while
They were pretty far offshore.
They were, but we could see, numbers wise, that it looked like the whole pod was there. And then they've all made a visit, K's down into Puget Sound again since then, and the whole family was there. So the whole pod is together. I just don't want anyone to worry
Spread
about
out.
that. Yeah, they're sometimes quite spread out, but.
And it's not uncommon to say, oh, those are the leaders. Oh, we've got the trailers. That's very typical.
Yeah, because when we were out there and there was a researcher that came out after us, and I mean, they were super spread.
Yeah.
Do we know where Jays are? Are Jays down with them?
No, they were, but then they left before K's left Puget Sound. So
interesting.
It's been December and January both have been really interesting trying to track the southern residents because we had all three pods here. Not clear when they all came in, but suddenly, like within a span of 3 days, we had some of L's off Powell River. We had J's off Nanaimo, and then we had K's in Tacoma. Wow. So
bizarre.
Spread north to south in the Salish Sea. And yeah, there's not as many eyes on the water. It's more difficult to track them, but they were all here at some point in December. And then going into January, J's and K's have still been around. They go MIA for a couple days. We're not always 100% sure if they're up north in the Strait of Georgia or heading out west, but still making periodic visits into Puget Sound, which is hopefully a good sign that they're finding fish down there.
And weren't you down in Puget Sound in November doing some surveys?
Yeah, we have our field work that we do in partnership with the Center for Whale Research down there. And we choose November because that's now the most predictable time you can find southern residents in inland waters is Puget Sound in November. But it continues, it varies a little bit year to year, but continues certainly into December and some years into January. And this has definitely been one of those years.
That's so amazing. And speaking of southern residents, if you listen to part 1 of our 3-part series, thank you for those who have sent in feedback. Part 2, you might be wondering why this episode is jumping in, but part 2 we'll be recording when Sara is back. We'll have that launched sometime in late February, early March. And in the meantime, some people have also asked, it's funny, a few people have sent in questions about wanting to know where to get the music that we're playing and the intro and outro. And so just want to give a shout out to my friend Jake Fader at Other Animal Music. That song is an originally recorded song specific for After the Breach podcast. And Other Animal Music, that's what they do. They're recording music for all different types of brands and advertisements and stuff like that.
So you're saying people have to listen to the podcast to hear the music?
You have to listen to the podcast to get the music.
Have you ever talked about it on an episode before?
I have not.
Like, do
This is
people
the
know
first.
that there's vocals incorporated into it?
There are vocals.
I'm not sure if that's like
Killer whale vocals.
Yes, to be clear. I'm not sure if that's obvious to everyone.
I'm always wondering if people catch that. And the vocals that's based on, that was the Butcher Boys.
Was it really?
In Sydney Channel that we recorded on the hydrophone. Yeah, that was
the Butcher Boys 49A2 and 65A3.
Yeah, hope to see them together again.
Oh,
sometime.
that was cool.
You see, you think his brother making the podcast would be enough to entice Indy to accept your invitation?
Exactly. Our whole calendar is out on our website for 2026, spring, summer, fall. We will be adding winter tours again next winter, so keep an eye out for those because those are really special. And we have probably a couple different specialty tours coming up in 2026. One in particular, Monika, you might want to mention here for the first time.
I would like to mention it. So Maya's Legacy has always been greatly supportive of the work that we're doing at the Orca Behavior Institute, and really the PWWA, the Pacific Whale Watch Association as a whole, is absolutely key in our efforts to track killer whales, especially big killer whales throughout the Salish Sea. Like, there's no way any one research group or even all the scientific research groups could track bigs without all of your help, because you have way more eyes out there and IDs and all of that kind of thing. And so in the interest of kind of that partnership between ecotourism and research, we have this idea of running a series of trips in July where there will be myself on board with I think the plan is Sara from Maya's, who also works with the Orca Behavior Institute. And the focus of the trips will be on community science and the research that we're doing at OB, and sort of a behind the scenes look a little bit. Hopefully we'll have the opportunity to collect some of our behavioral data in the field, give people a chance to see that. We'd really like to focus on how community members, including whale watch naturalists and captains, but also members of the public, contribute to our work and the work that many other people do in the region. On killer whales, of course, but also on other species like humpback whales and birds and all that sort of thing. So really talking about all the opportunities for people to participate in community science efforts and also learn a little bit more about our research and what we're up to. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're really excited. Those are going to be fun trips with lots of great info.
And I think we'll really be open to kind of catering discussions to what the interests are of the people on board, like whether it's a more in-depth conversation about southern residents versus Bigg's killer whales and kind of the compare and contrast, or the changes that we've seen in the Salish Sea, or if people want to talk about specific families, you'll have me and Sara there that love to geek out about that kind of thing, or any of the tough kind of conservation issues that we're facing right now. I think it'll be an opportunity to build on, the amazing tours that you already provide and talk to sort of that next level of, well, what do we really do if we want to get involved in conservation or research or a little bit more? So I'll be on board with Sara, and I think it'll be a really unique opportunity for folks to connect with us.
And hopefully this is just the beginning of a lot more of these. So you have dates in July scheduled.
Yeah, I think we're doing one a week throughout July, and they will be on your website. They're not on your website quite yet, but
correct. But people can book them if they call or email.
Yeah, maybe we can put the dates in your show notes.
That would be great. We will definitely
reference,
do that.
But yeah, I'm excited because I think people are aware that there's sort of a connection between research and ecotourism, but I think we can all collectively do a better job of sort of explaining what those connections are and how important one is to the other. We inform what you do and you inform what we do. And I think really highlighting that and having those kind of in-depth conversations with folks that are wanting to learn on a deeper level about the work going on here, it's going to be great.
I think you're exactly right. I think people have this idea that there is this relationship, but they don't really understand the details of how dependent we are on each other and how collaborative we are with each other. And I think to be able to get into the details of something like that and see it firsthand when you're out with a group of Bigg's killer whales and you're collecting that behavioral data and people are seeing that in action, and then they start to get why ecotourism plays a part in your research and what you're doing with that research and how you're collecting it. I think it's really good to get that story out there and give people that firsthand experience.
And there's a lot that I think happens behind the scenes, right? Where you all on the water, the ecotourism community are talking to us at OBI or at the Center for Whale Research or Orca Network or whatever it is, comparing notes. And if one group sees something and wants follow-up photos, right, we're all communicating to each other about those kind of things. But a lot of that's sort of behind the scenes. I think it'll be an opportunity for folks to see some of that in action, like you said, as well as see the types of data collection that we do at OBI. We're tracking killer whale sightings throughout the Salish Sea, which is a little more public facing because we share those monthly and annual sightings maps, but we're taking behavioral data as well. It was originally southern resident killer whale focused, but now includes Bigg's killer whales as well. And it's really exciting work because not many people are studying Bigg's killer whales, it's pretty amazing. They're here, they're accessible, but they're not really the targeted focus of all that much research. So there's so much that we don't know, which means that we see new things and document new things all the time. So
I love that you're doing that, and I love being a part of it by being on the water and sharing all the information with you, and just love seeing their culture unfold in front of us and learning about them.
Yeah, so hopefully some of your listeners would like to come up in July and join one of these kind of collaborative tours between Maya's Legacy and Orca Behavior Institute.
Yeah, we'll post the dates in the show notes and also the contact information of how you can sign up for these tours now before they get to our website. We do have all our other tours for the season on the website, our daily half-day tours and our specialty all-day tours that usually fall in August, September, and into October. We do have one July 4th as well, which is a great way to spend the 4th of July being out on the water all day. And hit us up if you have any questions or topic suggestions at afterthebreachpodcast@gmail.com. Really bummed that Sara was not able to be here, but Monika and April, thank you, both of you, for being here.
You're welcome.
And Sara definitely wanted me to pass on a message to everybody. She definitely wants you to stay safe out there.